Hello and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Clover. I'm coming to you from Six Nations along the Grand River here in Ontario. And I'm speaking with Cindy Martin, a member of the Indigenous community. Cindy, thanks for having me. It's a beautiful property here.
Thanks for coming. I'm really glad you made it.
Okay.
And the weather is just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It is. It feels so free to be outside and nature, sitting in nature. So,
Mhm.
for the sake of our audience, can you just tell us a bit about yourself?
Okay. I have been working here and living here in Six Nations all my life, and I promote wellness and health, and I really enjoy being active, paddling and golfing and doing archery, and just spending time with my family and just being active, right? So
What tribe of the Six Nations are you actually?
I'm from the Cayuga Nation, and my clan is Turtle. And so
Okay.
we make up six different nations to become the Haudenosaunee or Iroquois people that sometimes
Oh.
people refer to us.
Okay. How does the turtle differentiate you?
Our mothers are the leaders in our families, and so our matriarchal line is Turtle. So from the time that we began our Great Peace, the clans were divided up into families done by the peacemaker, and so we follow the women in our families, and so for every generations they become turtles, right?
Oh,
Or a different clan if their mothers a
that's an
different one.
exciting journey. Yeah.
Yes.
So you're an author. Tell me about your book, Reclaim, Rebuild, and Recover.
Oh yes. My book is been out for a couple of years now. I think since 2017, and and the title can be found on Amazon if you go to Recover, Rebuild, Reclaim Self. And it was my personal story of being able to heal from sexual assault. And what is unique about this is that um, I would not be here without the help of my traditional family that practiced the traditional ways of healing.
Mhm.
So they had utilized ceremony, medicine, and spoke to me and song as well to help with me with my healing. And the spiritual um, the spiritual uh, aspect of talking to my spirit was what was more uplifting. I recovered physically, but it was the emotional and the emotional component of healing. When I had to write the book, I had to purge, and then with the spiritual healing, it was with talking to my spirit and
So with
helping.
that experience, you put your book together.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and the nice thing about the book is that it's available free on Amazon if you have Kindle.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it was meant for everyone to be able to read it without barriers. So, or they can purchase their own copy on Amazon.
Is it? After writing such a book, how did you feel putting your life situation out for everyone to see?
I was able to um, I was able to be done with it. It was almost like burying it,
Mhm.
and and burying my this episode. I don't even want to say episode. It was like a chapter in my life. It was taking back my my confidence, taking back my security, taking back my freedom. Because all of those things were taken. It was shaken. My core was shaken, and so
Mhm.
it took me almost about 3 years to recover and reclaim. Where before in that first year I was isolated and I didn't want
Oh,
to talk, and I
wow.
and I was I was carrying that shame, um, and insecurity and fear, and so it took me a while to 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 rebuild that. And
When did
then
you have first have courage to step
whew,
out and be yourself again?
it was after the film,
After
the
the
film.
film, oh, leading into that, so that's when you became a cast member in the documentary What About Us? Tell us a
Yes.
little bit about that one.
Well, I had it was a part of a networking meeting that the Women of the Earth Empowerment were meeting, and were sharing about our story and what we're a part of. So I told them about the book that I had written and its significance in my life. And I met Shelley, and
Shelley Jarrett,
yeah,
right?
I was able to tell her about. She had heard it. She said she wanted to include me into her documentary film, and so everything just snowballed into that. And I was still shy about telling my story and my life, and but after the film, um, it was very incredible, because I was brave enough to put my my words to film, and it was my voice.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I saw myself on the film, it was absolutely um, pure and raw, and almost seen myself like out of like an out of body experience where it was like, boy, she's strong, and I was able to really um, nurture that woman that I was seeing on the screen, and be able to have the confidence to honor her as much as I could.
Okay. We'll now take a look at Cindy as a cast member on the documentary What About Us?
My name is Shelley Jarrett. I am Guyanese. I am the creator of the project What About Us? These are the faces of us.
My cultural background is indigenous of the Haudenosaunee. My experience was being sexually assaulted by a man I knew.
My background is Jamaican, and my experience was abuse in the home by extended family members.
I am Canadian born of East Indian background. I was emotionally, physically, and mentally abused by my ex-husband.
I am Canadian born to parents who immigrated from India. When I was a little girl, I was molested by a cousin who was much, much older, and I suppressed it for many, many years.
I'm Rachel Cruz, and I'm Filipino-Canadian. I was sexually assaulted by a member of my community.
I am Canadian born with Bajan descent. My experience was workplace abuse in corporate Canada.
And I am Italian. I started to experience sexual abuse when I was 6 years old, and it followed me through my teenage years and adult life.
My name is Melissa Helen Kimberly Hood, and I am 7th generation Canadian born with Native descent. And I have experienced 32 years of abuse. I'm no longer a victim, but a true survivor.
My whole avenue was to promote healing from trauma and abuse and violence, and that was utilizing the reconnection journey and promoting our culture and I guess more educational awareness of who we are, because with that opportunity, I'm a resource person for new Canadians in the Peel, Brampton, and Mississauga region to introduce themselves to Indigenous people as a person and mother, and tell them about our culture, and just that awareness.
As a mother too, you have to be an example. You have daughters or you have sons?
I have 2 daughters and a son.
Okay,
yes.
so you have to be an example for them too.
Yes.
And that led you on to the We project. What's the We project?
That was originally the Women of the Earth Empowerment. So it was women of across the world that could join our group to be aware of the importance of the environment, importance of being strong, empowered women as leaders in our families and our communities, and just to support each other, and knowing that we all have a common bond of being female. It's the passion that we have that we can do more for our communities and our young daughters. So it's now evolved into just being more like a resource person for For all the communities in that
All the
Peel,
community?
yes.
Oh, okay, Peel region.
Yeah.
And is
Peel.
that still going on today?
It hasn't because we have been living through COVID.
Oh, COVID-19 has stopped
Yes.
everything for us.
Yes.
But it didn't stop our interview today.
Right. Yes. So I'm looking forward to it resuming. Even doing Zooms, working with my friend Deepa, and she's very connected with the group. We had a retreat here a couple of years ago.
Here on the grounds?
Yes.
Wow,
yes.
that must be
It was
beautiful.
fabulous.
Okay.
With her help, you know, we had yoga. We had they did a little bit of archery. We had sat and just relaxed, and it was to get out of the Toronto, the city hustle and bustle, and bring your feet down.
It's so peaceful up here. I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
Thanks.
So with COVID on our heels, and you here on this property, and with Zoom, how else do you connect with the outer world? Just by Zoom and
Right
how do
now,
you
it's
cope?
just been by Zoom because I had a presentation in Hawaii. I had a presentation at Buffalo State University.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so Zoom has extended the whole reach
For you,
for me. Yes.
Okay, that's good. You have also had a collaboration with the Waterfront Project.
Well, I was nominated for the Toronto Waterfront Awards for Arts and Culture because I promote Indigenous arts and culture.
Again, there you
yes.
go, promoting your culture.
Yeah,
Great.
I go. I attend fashion shows in Toronto, or Indigenous fashion shows, the film festival. Love supporting our Indigenous singers, musicians. So. And dancers, so I go to everything to support them, and so I have a large database on my Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, and so those social media capacities, I'm very happy to support Indigenous people who are stepping out and stepping out front
I
and
hope
center.
they're taking note though. So with all your collaboration, what's your next chapter? COVID has hit, it has paused us, but I'm sure I've been inspired by a lot of things since COVID. So I guess you've been inspired also. What's your next chapter?
My next chapter is basically still doing Zoom presentations throughout the countryside, throughout the world, and just giving them an opportunity to hear about healing from trauma, violence, and sexual assault and abuse. So I have been working with the individuals one-to-one, but the introduction of this concept is pretty incredible because it supports our traditional people 100%, and it gives merit to our traditional teachings as well. So I'll give an example. For example, our belief is when you're making a decision, it's considering how it's going to affect the next 7 generations ahead of you. And
that's key.
Yeah, and so when we make that decision, it's versus in the Western mainstream thought is, I'm going to make this decision and you have to get used to it, and so it's very personal, like self-centered decision-making process. It doesn't consider anybody else's feelings or standings of how it's going to affect other people.
So with determination, you put that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Indigenous thinking of making decisions is to be respectful and consider other people before you make that decision. And it would be like, for example, if I knew my vehicle was not working right and I choose to drive it and I get and it affects my driving, and I cause an accident, I could have, that decision is, affecting everybody else on the road, including myself, right? So, those
you have to think of others too.
Yeah, you can't just say, well, I got to do that because I want to,
Yeah. So I wanted to touch on the traumatic news that just came across the nation about the 215 Indigenous children that were found, the graves that were found. How do you feel about that? When I heard it as a mom, I have my whys, I have my how, I have my who. But where do we get answers? How do you feel hearing that news?
Well, when we were reading the Truth and Reconciliation the book that came out, the report that came out, there was glimpses of it, coming through the book, that that there was
That it was happening.
yeah, that there was kids that were missing as to never returned home, and why. And so when I found out on the Facebook news clip, I broke down crying. It just, being a mother, it just came over me. It washed over me, that feeling of grief. And it was about, I guess, 3 days of just, tearing up, because that people were being affected.
It makes
in North
you
America
numb.
wide.
Yeah, as young as 3 years old. Would you say you have faith in the church? Because it was a church that was in charge of these children, and it failed. Do you have faith in the church?
Actually, I'm a traditional person. I follow our traditional longhouse beliefs. So
Okay.
I'm not a Christian. I gather the strength from the message of the Peacemaker, where he says, where his message is about peace, strength, and a good mind. So I really strive hard to have a good mind and take a deep breath and absorb that, absorb that love, and then release all that hurt, because that's where that if we dwell on the sadness, it'll make us weak, and it'll be like we'll have the signs of depression, and possibly anger will fester within us. So I just want to tell our people, that having a good mind requires a work, and it means to keep busy throughout your day, and finding the positive things in your life, and supporting things,
Finding constructive things to do too. So with all the investigation that's going on, do you think the community will ever find closure?
We will in time. Like I said, bringing home the children is going to be generational trauma, and feeling that right from the immediate people, but knowing that our residential schools have been across Canada and the U.S. It's just a ripple right now, and
The numbers keep going, and the heartache keep pounding.
Yeah, so this is just the start, and we're going to need that time and that understanding by everyone to know that when they were doing the Truth and Reconciliation investigations and stuff from the people that lived it and the traumas when they were reporting it, it was just their words, right? Now, and it was almost like in subtle moments, it was like, prove it.
Right.
And it was our ancestors that have now risen to those children that has risen to here, to say, here I am. This is the proof. So it's not made up. These are the
So it's proven it happened.
Yeah.
It's hard to take in.
Yeah, the words that they come in, that they have spoken, now are in the forefront of the church and the government.
Were you connected to anyone who had experienced someone lost in?
I really don't know, because the Mohawk Institute in Brantford, Ontario, it closed in 1970, and I was born in 1972.
Oh, okay.
So 1972. So
she's putting it out there.
So I wouldn't know the records as to who has been missing or not, but I know that they wouldn't have the graves in front of the Mohawk Institute. It was going to be either behind or in another location altogether.
Okay. So after all this, what's next for Cindy? What's next for you?
I have I've been asked to be a part of a film, with it's in
Another
the
film.
States, yeah, in the States, but definitely there in the States. So I'm looking forward to it when the borders open,
Oh,
so that I
open up.
can I can join the cast and crew, and
So that's gonna keep you busy again. Right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So you're gonna have to be away from home for a while.
I think we'll be taking it just a couple days here and there for filming, and then I just will travel back and forth.
That's our next chapter. Then we have to get into.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it was nice talking to you, Cindy. It's wonderful, beautiful property. We're sitting in nature and just enjoying the sunshine with coffee. Yeah.
Yes, coffee. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. We're coming from. Cheers to coffee. Cheers to coffee.
Cheers.
We're coming from Six Nations. Thanks for watching Coffee with Clover. See you again next time.
They were thorn bushes, and so they weren't as pretty, and So.
Okay. How about a garden? Nice to have
the garden.
Cascading garden.
Yeah. I have a little garden that I'm doing on the side. It's got tomato plants in it.
Oh well, that's
Yeah,
health. That's health. It's I love it. I love it.
You need to
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous.